me put it like this, I've never really been separating the arts and the sciences. I see art in a more general way as a way of understanding the world, just as science can be a way of understanding the world. And the way I approach my work is very often in a bottom-up way, where I have a certain question, and really often a very simple question, and slowly from there I start to build things, but not so much even adding things to it, but more trying to understand what can I do with it, study it, and try to, let's say, build artistic language from it. But within that, and I didn't, I mean, it's not even so intentional, I simply started to learn that what I'm doing also has meaning in science, that for example, while making an interactive installation, it's interesting to start thinking in a more fundamental way about what interaction is, how does it work, how do we structure it, how do we make it communicate, and what kind of things, for example, are involved in doing something like that. So it's just in the approach that I had that I started to figure out that these things are interrelated, or it can make sense, what I'm doing can make sense in both worlds. Not because I want to be an artist and a scientist, simply because I do what I want to do. Then we go to clip8. Yeah, is somebody whose work I really admire and like. Here you see his autonomous moving sound objects, but he has, for example, been focusing on frog communication and always making autonomous objects, so not a top-down approach where you have a system that is controlling something, but objects communicating with it. It's important to know with clip8 that he has a background in physics, and for example, and I like his free thinking, I like what he's doing, I like the subject that he chooses. Another example of that, and that doesn't make so much, that doesn't, let's say, have so much sense in the art context, but it shows the freedom of how free you can operate within science, is that he did his PhD on the question, why does a boomerang return? Yeah?
1 minute.
Yeah, okay. I think that's very interesting, and he found his own way and his own models of answering that question. And such a free way of thinking, such a free way on one hand of operating in science, and on the other hand operating in the arts. So he, at a certain moment, dropped the sciences where he understood that what he was fascinated in and what he was interested to research is something that he could also communicate in the form of installations. And that's why I brought this example for today in the context of mapping art-science collaborations. Yeah, but I would say the collaboration is in one person in this particular case.
Thank you.